guys, it's Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Well, you guys voted for it. We got over 1,000 likes of the main riff video of Peace of Mind that I just played a little bit of. Now, since we've done that, now we're going to learn all the rest of the song. So in this video, I'm going to take care of all the other rhythm guitar parts, including that little acoustic intro, which I'm obviously doing just on a clean tone here, and then all the other parts of the song for all the rhythm guitar parts. And then in the next video lesson you'll see tomorrow, we'll take a look at all of the solo guitar parts, including all those guitar harmonies. Pretty cool stuff. All right, so let's jump right into it. We're still in standard tuning here. And we're going to start with this intro. All right, so it's played a little bit differently in the intro. On the acoustic, they make it a little bit more percussive, but that's also the chorus of the song. It's just played a little bit more laid back for the chorus. So let's take a look at this. It starts with this C sharp minor chord, but what we're going to be doing here, besides the bar across these, starting from the 5th string, let that bar go all the way across to the low E string. So you hold this C sharp minor chord at the 4th fret, so that's just 4th fret there. Do a full bar, and you're going to have the 5th fret there on the B string, 6th on the G, and 6th on the D. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the 5th, the G sharp, in the chord underneath it. You don't have to strum the whole chord, just really up to the 2nd string sounds great. Then we're going to move up 1 fret, and then take these fingers and move them up 1 string each to just make it a standard A major chord. So we have this. All right, so I kind of do it down up there, and then you're going to mute the strings. Just quick little down up, down up. So the muted strings. Then we're going to grab an E major chord, and once again we're going to add the 5th in the bass. So instead of the standard, he actually Tom Schultz does use his pinky there. You can use your 3rd finger there, it doesn't really matter. But we are barring across the 7th fret on the A and the low E. And then adding that bar here of the 9th fret on the D, G, and the B. So you hit that, and then you switch it to a B major chord. So just like the chord A major here, back at the 7th fret instead. And then he does a quick little, basically he lifts up the 3rd finger there to go down to the 7th fret on the A string, and then back to the 9th fret. So he kind of rotates between like that. So we have this. So it says 7, 9, 7 on the A, then a little mute, and he starts over. All right, from there we get into the main riff, which we've already covered. Now, so you can play this. He's actually, you can watch live videos, and he's actually, I think, played this a couple different ways. The same notes, of course, but sometimes he'll. So just really the way I did it originally. When you get there, we jump up to this little transition riff, which happens a couple times. It transitions us into the verse. It looks like this. All right, so what is important there is there's actually multiple guitar parts going on there. You probably have a guy going. Do that standard kind of Chuck Berry stuff. Tom Schultz is also doing this live, but what you can do here is you can make sure you can get the low E in there and this E major going into that A major. Now you can do that by muting the A string with the tip of your index finger. So when you're doing that bar, the 9th fret across the D, G, and the B, let that tip of the finger go and touch the bottom of that A string. So it kind of mutes it out. So then you can actually strum across all the strings and get that low E in there and not have this A string in there because you're muting it with the tip of your index finger. So we have this. So what I'm doing there is I'm just playing, I'm coming down the 11th fret there on the D and the 10th fret on the B. And I'm really focusing on those 3 strings. You gotta just kind of hum that melody. So it's just like 1, 1, 2, 2. So 1, 1, 1, 2. And then 1, 1. And then it just goes straight forward. So now what he'll do is, so you see like when I'm starting, I hit the low E the first time and let it ring. And then when I do the second, I can hit all the strings again to keep that low E string going. So it just makes it sound full. And then we have that. All right, now that little lick at the end. So that's with those. And what's going on here, you're going to do these double stops up here, the 13th fret on the G and the 12th fret on the B. Hit those twice, slide into them, and then move it down 2 frets. And then you go down to the 9th fret there, bar again across those 3 strings. And then we do this little Hendrixy thing, which he does a lot in this song. And it's just, he's, you know, when he does it live, he might not repeat it the same way each time. And even in the song, he'll vary it slightly. But we have kind of a good rendition of that is when you get down to the 3 9s, then you add the 11th fret there on the D and just hit the G and the D string together. Back to the 2 9s on the D and the G, and then hammer 9 to 11 on the A, and then back to the 2 9s on the D and the G. All right, and then we make it to the chorus, which sounds like this. It has those little Hendrixy fills throughout it. All right, so that verse is going to be the same concept in the beginning, just rotating between that E major triad and the A major with the muting to the A string. And then when he's getting ready to transition down here, he'll do that little hammer from 9 to 11 again on the A string. And you can have the D string 9th fret in there too. Over the 9s on the D and the G, and then add the 9th fret on the D with that. If you've ever played any Hendrix chord work, which I have videos on all the time, you know exactly what's going on here. So we have this in reverse. So you did a little chord work there, and then you're going to jump back here to the 5th fret here to do really a D power chord. So that's just the 5th fret there on the A, 7th on the D and the G. Then same thing, up 1 string each to the A power chord. And then into this E power chord, you get the low E in there with it too. So that's the 7th fret on there on the A string, the power chord built off that. And then back to, so that's sliding in 9 to 11, back to the 2 9s on the G and the D. Hammer on that 11, back to the 2 9s. So with this. So he's just kind of messing around. It's kind of one of those things where you really just want to. So you can just kind of do whatever you really want there. So I would play something like this. And then this second time through, just move this power chord instead of over to the E, up to the B here. So now up 2 frets to the B. Then we do the kind of the Chuck Berry thing, which is the power chord twice, and then add the 11th fret there on the A, replace the 9th fret with the 11th, and then back to the 9th. Just like this. So that's a little 4 strum pattern. All right, so from there we go to the chorus, and like we said, it's very similar to the opening riff. All right, so we're just starting with that same chord that we did on the acoustic part earlier. Same chords, but you're really just kind of focusing on the bottom string, so you don't have to do the whole chord there. Just kind of like power chord versions of everything, the bottom 3 strings or so. And then here, the same thing. I'm just kind of focusing on the 4th, 5th, and 6th strings. And just letting them ring 1, 1. You're still doing that little transition there, and then after a few times, resolve it down to the A chord. You can do the A major chord there if you want to. And then we're back to the same verse again. So first, the verse transition riff. So it's kind of the same process again, going through the same exact chorus and everything. Then we get to the bridge section. Now the bridge section sounds like this. All right, so now what we're going to be doing here is slightly different version of this. When you first hear it without the vocals, it's slightly different than when the vocals come in. So we're going to start here with a power chord at the 7th fret off the low E string. So 7 there, 9 on the A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then go 2, 4 on the low E. Then to the open A power chord. Then the power chord off the 4th fret of the A string, and then back to the 7th. So we have this. Repeat that. Now when the vocals come in, after you've played that riff twice, you can see this slight little difference in it. All right, so what's going on there? We have the power chord, 1, 2, 3, and then lift up that pinky. So now it's going to be the 7th fret there on the A string, with the 7th fret, the 2 7s on the A and the E together, then back to the 9. Same thing after that. And then we're going to end it with this power chord at the 4th fret, back down to 2. And then the E. Now when you just set that, you just play the E major chord there, and then there's usually a second guitar player that goes. So it's just, that's just holding the 2nd fret there on the D and the 1st fret on the G and then the open B, and then coming down with an A major chord on those 3 strings. And then it kind of layers with one little lick down here, but the main one you hear is that again. All right. So now the ending of that bridge section, I'm just going to skip ahead here towards further on down the song, when we have that, it ends like this. Now, if you know the song, all those harmony parts build up, and so when I play the lower one, it continues. Then they add another one, and they add another one on top of it. So it becomes this big harmony part. So I'm going to show you these harmony parts in this rhythm lesson because it's really part of a rhythm guitar part. So we're just going to go, when we end that, this one, for the chords at least, we're exiting the bridge section the second time of playing it. And that power chords, it's the 4th fret, 2, and open A, and just repeat that. And then eventually it's going to end like this. And that's just the 4, 2, open, there. All right, so that goes on for the entire time. But then over that, they start building guitar harmonies. The first guitar harmony is this. It's just 6 on the D, 4, 2. Slide into that 6. Now, that's loud at the beginning. It starts to fade in the mix, but it stays in the harmony. So you're gonna, each one of these harmonies is really just made of 3 notes. So you keep descending, and the last time you play it, you go, and you basically end on the middle note. And then the next harmony that adds on top of that is 6, 4, 2 on the G. The next harmony, so you can decide which ones. You might want to just, if you have 2 guitar players, you guys are always playing the top 2 harmony parts as they go into the mix. Next one. That's 5, 4, 2 on the B string. And the last harmony part is 9, 7, 5 on the B. And back to the 7, of course. So those are all on top of each other, the power chords, and each one of those harmony parts. All right, it's Tom Schultz, you know, he just loves building these huge harmony parts. All right, so now we are, really the only thing left to cover is the rhythms during the solos. And we're going to cover the actual solos in the next video. So the rhythms of the solos we've really kind of already covered. It's just... So it's just that power chord at the 5th fret, they're on the A string, over to the low E, power chord at the 5th fret, and then into the E, power chord, and then some of those Hendrixy type fills, all right? It really, every time he plays it live, he does it different. And just go back into the chord. Kind of mess around with it. And then the 4th time, up there on that B again, like we did before at the end of the verse, and then it goes through the chorus progression for the rest of the solo. All right, so stay tuned to the next video. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna check out these guitar solos, a lot of layers and harmonies, but not that hard to learn. So I'll see you then.